All right, Madam Chair, we're good to go. The second AM YouTube feed is up.
Okay, we're ready to go. So item number 22, 535 Logan Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. And we received late yesterday in our supplemental agenda support from number 533, which is adjacent. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, yes, I'm here. My name is Mike DeOliveira. I'm with Place Design located at 11 Davenport Road. I'm here representing 535 Logan Avenue.
Alrighty, you're back again today. Oh, I see you're going to have one more later on, so you're with us all morning. Okay.
Yes.
I don't
Till the
think,
end.
yeah, I don't think we need a presentation. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, Mr. D'Oliveira, we don't have any questions. We've read the materials. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think our application is pretty straightforward. Our variances are pretty close to the existing conditions and what's been approved in the area. I believe there was no questions, so I think we're good to proceed.
Okay. Panel members, we're in committee. Mr. Reed, and then Mr. Bayat. Split second.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a well put together application, and it's very restrained in what it's proposing, and just really a kind of kick out on the third floor. And I think there's no negative impacts coming from this, and the variances themselves are minor in nature. So I move to approve with no conditions.
Okay, do you want a second, Mr. Bayat? Okay, so motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Okay, thank you. Item number 23, 200 Beach Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Mr. Lang, the agent. We have a staff report from community planning, and we have, let me just go to the staff report. So they're asking for refusal of variance number 1. And we have forestry asking for condition number 2. We have 4 form letters in support from 115 and 119 Spruce Hill Road, as well as 198 Beach, which is adjacent, 204 Beach, and then we've received email correspondence from the agent late yesterday. It's in the supplemental agenda regarding revisions to the posted plans. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear. I don't have any opposition. I'm not so I guess I'll start with the planning report. You're aware of the refusal for variance number 1?
Yes, that was the reason for the submission yesterday. The zoning examiner was kind enough to take a look at a revised plan. We reduced the overall height. The measurement was being taken to the chimney that's on the back of the garage, and we've lowered that. So now the variance for height we're asking for is to the top of the actual roof, which is now 4.5 meters.
Okay, so just give me a second because I'm just toggling between documents here because I'm just
If you
going...
scroll down in that one.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the, like all the correspondence we got, and oh yeah, the plans are
Right there, I've
like at
highlighted
the
it.
bottom there, yeah. Okay, so we would be using the plans that are in the supplemental report, right? So let's see.
Correct,
this.
with the zoning notice that I
Okay,
included.
so that we'll use the plans then if we say date stamped October 18th, is that sufficient?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep,
That
that's
is correct.
October 18th. All right. So panel members, that issue's been resolved, that was flagged then in the planning report. Do you have any questions for the, okay, Ms. Hayes?
Just a clarification then, so is variance number 1 now being, instead of 5.15, is now going to be 4.54?
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so amended. 4.54. Okay, so 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54. 4.54 5.4, is that what you said? Sorry. I have a brain freeze.
4.54.
4.54,
Yeah.
4.54, sorry. Okay. Okay, any other questions, panel members? Okay, we're ready to go into committee to make a decision on this. Mr. Lang, is there anything that you want to add?
No, unless the panel members had some questions.
No, I think that the questions were asked, so we'd be looking at the plans date stamped October 18th, 2021, and amending variance number 1 to 4.54 meters and the forestry 2 condition.
Yep.
Okay, all right, panel members, let's take it into committee. Ms. Hayes.
First of all, I appreciate the applicant working with the planning report and making some adjustments to the application. The 4.54 on the height. Having reviewed the materials and the applicant's comments with respect to the grading of the property, I think the 4.54 height is supportable, and if my colleagues have no further comment, I would move a motion to approve the amended application, subject to forestry condition number 2.
Okay, and the plans date stamped October 18th.
Yes, we can tie it to plans, yeah.
Okay, so that's the motion by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Okay, your application's been approved unanimously. Item number 24, 49 Wright Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have support from both adjacent neighbors at 47 and 51 Wright Avenue. And we don't have any speakers in opposition. Do I have the agent on the line?
I'm here. Yes,
Hi.
I'm here.
Can you identify
Can you hear me?
yourself for the record, please?
Morning. This is Derek McCallum. I'm the agent for the owners at 49 Right? Or 40, yeah.
Okay, panel members, I don't think we need a presentation on this one. Do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, Mr. McCallum, we don't have any questions for you. We have read all the materials, don't need a presentation. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add before we do so?
No, I think if there's no questions, then we are good to proceed.
Okay, panel members, let's take it into committee for a decision. Mr. Bayat. I think you're muted. You're muted.
Apologies. I think this application is a completely supportable one, and I have no reason not to support it. And I'd like to propose a motion to accept the application as is.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Mr. Reed? Okay, so motion to approve, moved by Mr. Bayat, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved. Item number 25, 297 Symington Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Previous decision affecting the subject property. I do not show any opposition listed as speakers. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, my name is Bruno Lopez from MXL Engineering.
Okay, you're speaking on behalf of the owner, correct?
Yes, correct. I guess the owner is himself registered, and I would like to somehow share my 5-minute time if required, because he has a little something personal to add to the application.
Okay, well, let's see if the committee, I don't know that we need a presentation, but let's see. Panel members, do you need a presentation? No. Do you have any questions for the agent, Mr. Bayat, and then Ms. Hayes?
Just a quick question. Is the long-term, I don't know if the agent knows, but is the long-term intent to perhaps turn this into a laneway suite?
No, it's not. Actually, this is a couple with no kids. The intent of this garage, the way they want to do it, and it's pretty much mimic the existing adjacent neighbor, and it's more of a safety concern and give them the enough space for storage, which they can actually use with the right headroom.
Thank you.
Ms. Hayes?
So just further to those comments, I did note on the location map that there appears to be, quite sizable ancillary structures on neighboring properties. Just wondered from context, whether or not we could the height and size that you're requesting, are they already represented in some of those structures of like 299, 303, and 305?
Yes, absolutely. The adjacent neighbor, it's pretty much the exact same concept in terms of area, heights. It's going to be very similar. And again, this was done pretty much with the agreement of the neighbor. And if you look at the other side of the laneway, it's a factory with a 3 full story, which is literally like a blunt wall.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's what I thought. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Lopez, we're actually ready to go into committee to make a decision. Did you say the homeowner wanted to state a personal something?
Yeah, this again, I think he already had a couple very unfortunate episodes with robbery, theft, and so on. Again,
Okay.
he's just trying to do something better for himself and the family and feel a little bit more protected. So that's the reason why we did a concrete block that is a non-combustible construction. So again, it's trying to do a betterment because he had safety issues in the past and he wants to get himself a little bit more protected.
Okay, understood. All right, panel members, we're ready to take it into committee. Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. This is a tall garage that's being proposed, but I think given the immediate context of existing garages just adjacent, and particularly as the applicant mentioned, the large former factory to the east, I think the impacts of this height are minimal. I think any kind of overlook or sun shadow implications are negated because of the factory to the east. So I think it's supportable, and I move a motion to approve with no conditions.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Nipfel. So a motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Nipfel. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Item number 26, 78 Wilcox Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. No further correspondence. And, it's Mr. Lopez is our agent again. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right, you're again speaking on behalf of the owner. If you can just bear with me for 1 second. Do you have the other? Yeah, can you just put her on? I'm not sure if they're objecting or not. Hi, Miss Friday?
Hi Jessica, you're unmuted on our end. You might have to unmute yourself on your side. We still can't hear you. I can give you a call at the phone number you've registered with.
When you call her, maybe you can just ask her if she's just listening in or not, or if she's in opposition.
I didn't have any opposition. I just said I wanted to hear the meeting.
Okay, so you're just listening in then?
Yes.
Okay, great.
as I clearly stated in my email.
Oh, okay, well, I don't have the email, I just have a list of names, so I just wanted to be sure. Okay, thank you, thanks for your interest. Okay, panel members, do you need a presentation on this one? Do you have any questions for Mr. Lopez? Okay, Mr. Lopez, we're looking at one variance here, as you know. We have no questions. We've read all the material, and we are ready to take this into committee. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
No, just stating that this is a very straightforward application. We work with the existing footprint. We just eliminated one set of stairs that was not compliant with today's code. We relocate the stairs. Because of relocating the stairs, we have to do minimum work on the roof, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Let's take it into committee, panel members. Ms. Hayes?
Thanks. This is indeed minor. It's really to reconstruct the stairs leading to the third story. There's no greater impact. The variance is really an existing condition that's just triggered by the permit to reconstruct the stairs. So I believe I can support this application. I would move a motion to approve, no conditions.
Okay, Mr. Bayat, you second, so a motion to approve, moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? Okay, the application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Can we do the next two together? 173, 175 WOODYCREST, Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, just be mindful that 173 has 2 variances, 175 is seeking 4 variances.
Okay, thank you. All right, panel members, we have before us for both of these a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a planning brief from the agent and 7 form letters in support from number 155, 163, 166, 171, which is adjacent, 172, and 179 WOODYCREST, as well as 261 Mortimer. So that's identical for both item 27, which is 173 WOODYCREST, and item 28, which is 175 WOODYCREST. And as noted by the Deputy Secretary Treasurer, the 173 WOODYCREST has 2 variances and 175 has 4. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, this is Franco Spagnolo.
Okay. Panel members, do you need a presentation on these? Do you have questions of the agent? Mr. Nipfel and then Mr. Reed.
I have one very simple question. On 178, the corner one, there is you're maintaining a very large driveway in front of the garage.
Hang on, did you, Mr. Nipfel, we're dealing with, do you mean 173? Because we're dealing.
We're not doing them together? Sorry.
Yeah, we are, but it's 175 and 173.
175.
Oh, you mean item number 28. Okay, got it.
Okay, I'm talking about 175.
Yeah, sorry, you said 178, so you kind of threw us off.
I'm sorry, I didn't make the drawing big enough to read it.
That's okay.
The garage access is a driveway, a very large driveway. And whereas the garage next door, the adjacent garage, the access to that garage is off of the laneway. If you had access from the laneway, you would have a lot more green space on the property at 175. Could you just, for my edification, tell me why you decided to exit an entrance or provide the entrance and exit off of the existing driveway rather than the laneway? There's presumably a reason.
Yes, sure. So there is actually an existing garage in my planning rationale. I provided some pictures. The access to 175 WOODYCREST is up there. You just passed it. Oh, there's another one. So there is access. There's an existing curb cut. There's an existing driveway. And as per the zoning bylaw, when on a flanking street, the parking should be provided or accessible from the flanking street. So this is an existing condition that we're not changing. We're just replacing this structure, along with the neighbor as well, 173, just because the structural condition of both garages are in very poor condition. Regarding your point on soft landscaping, yes, for 175, we are requesting 46.13%, where the minimum is 50. But if you look at the survey, the existing the existing rear yard is all concrete. So we're making it substantially better as it is right now. We feel that this minor variance for the soft, this variance for the soft landscaping is minor, and we're making the condition much, much better.
Thank you.
Mr. Reed.
Thanks. Yeah, my question is quite technical, and for 173, both of the variances, the rear yard, soft landscape, and lot coverage are 44.17%, which seems like a big coincidence. I just want to make sure that that's accurate.
So I believe, yes, I did actually double check that as well. When I was doing my planning rationale, but it is rounded up as, it's 44.17. The reason that, just a comment, the reconstructed garage is pretty much almost exactly the same location, but they are semi-detached now. So we are requesting the overall coverage, which is existing already over at 42.48, and we're requesting for 44.17. So just a small additional 1.69%.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions, panel members? Okay, so we're ready to take this into committee. So do you want us to do the motion separately? Okay, so let's first deal with 173 WOODYCREST, so item 27. Ms. Hayes.
Thank you. I believe that this is basically replacing something that is structurally unsound and increasing the size slightly to allow for better functionality. As noted, the existing coverage is 42.48. I think what's being requested is indeed minor, and I would move to approve that application with no conditions.
Okay, and Mr. Reed seconds, so motion to approve, moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Okay, the application's been approved, and let's do number 28, which is 175 WOODYCREST. Ms. Hayes?
I would move to approve this application. The structures are indeed existing and would benefit from being reconstructed. Again, I think the rationale is similar to the application at 173 in terms of the slight increases to improve functionality, and there's no greater impact than what currently exists, and I would move to approve the application with no conditions.
Okay, Mr. Reed, do you want a second again? Okay, so a motion to approve, moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Okay, the application has been approved. Item number 29, 416 Kingston Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a tree and site plan, as well as photograph from the agent, as well as presentation materials. We have a staff report from community planning recommending refusal, correspondence in support from 73A Corley Avenue, as well as 410 Kingston Road, 15 form letters in support from 73A, 75C Corley Avenue, 408, 410, 412, 414, which is adjacent, 430, 432, 434, and 438 Kingston Road, as well as 73F, 75, 77, and 79 Corley Avenue, 720 Kingston Road, and correspondence in opposition from number 418. Is the opposition on the line? Okay. So, Mr. Oliveira, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. My name is Mikey Oliveira. I'm the agent acting on behalf of 416 Kingston Road. and I'm
Okay.
with Replacement Design, located
So-
at 911 Davenport Road.
I do need you to do a presentation. I have one opposition speaker, so we'll start the clock now.
Certainly. So we are seeking relief to the bylaw to create a 2-car front pad parking. Our clients have spoken to many of the neighbors in the neighborhood, collecting a total of 16 letters of support, as you had just outlined. Upon designing the new front pad parking on this property, we took great care to make sure that we limit our variances here as much as possible. As you can see, we are able to propose the parking without any issues related to soft landscaping. Although the planning report makes reference to potentially using the existing curb cut to access the parking, this isn't the greatest option in this case. Our clients have lived at this property for the past 10 years now, and they've been sharing the existing right-of-way with their neighbor at 418. However, they don't dare to use this right-of-way due to instances in the past that for our clients and the neighbors' privacy we won't get into at the moment. But needless to say, these instances have made sharing the space quite difficult, and in order to stay at the property, they would like to get this approval to mitigate any interactions moving forward. I'd also like to point out, if you can refer to our supporting materials, if you can just bring up the support map and then the photos I have in relation to other properties along this street. If you can just move on to the second page here. The first map you're seeing is just a bit of an outline of the support we got in the neighborhood.
I can't seem to scroll very quickly just because I think the file's really big. It's just taking a while to load everything up. There we go.
So yeah, if you can just stop there for now. So if you look at our client side of the street, the majority of properties have nearly no soft landscaping and are paved completely to park multiple vehicles. So if you just slowly flip through here, you'll see first photo is for houses between 396 and 402. As you see, it's almost all paved. If you move on to 404 to 408, again, similar, it's all paved or asphalt. And you can see there's multiple cars that are parking in front. And if you just keep scrolling along, 412 to 414, same condition, and even more so at 420 to 426. You can see on the far left-hand side, I believe it's just getting stuck again on the screen here. Give it a moment. Yep. Okay, so if you look at the bottom photo, that's 420 to 426. You'll see there's 2 vehicles parked on the side. Again, it's all hard landscaping, and you can see along with the rest of 422, 424, 426. Again, that's all hard landscaping. And if you refer back to our proposed site plan, we have no soft landscaping variants. We comply with all landscaping requirements. The hard landscaping is really only for a walkway back to the existing front porch and for the 2-car parking in front. So we comply with all cases there. And we will be, of course, applying to urban forestry to injure the tree. But we've already spoken to the neighbor at 414, and they're completely on board with this application, as they've signed the letter as well. So as you can see, with regards to those photos, this fits with the existing characteristic of the neighborhood, but also exceeds it when you take into account that we comply with the soft landscaping, where, as you see, almost every yard is completely hard landscape. Opening it up to any questions or to the neighbor who's here today.
Okay, I think what I'll do is we'll hear from the neighbor and then we'll come back to you for questions.
Okay.
Carol, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you please state your full name and address for the record? And after you've done that, we'll start the clock. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, my name is Carol Ellen Legier at 418 Kingston Road.
Okay, go ahead. We're going to start the clock. You have 5 minutes to let us know your concerns.
Okay, I talked to the design company sent me a letter saying that this would not directly impact me as a homeowner, but I talked to a real estate agent on October the 15th, and they told me that this would directly impact my house as we share a mutual driveway of 110 feet by 6 feet. They presently have 2-car parking in the back. It was used by the 3 last previous owners. It was also used by them. for a couple of years, they parked in the back as well. So now the real estate agent told me that this would directly impact my house on a resale value, because if they were to sell their house in the future, and this was a selling feature, a 4-car parking pad, then a person looking to purchase their house as an income property would try to duplex or triplex the house, which would make multiple renters, or they could make it an Airbnb, which would also affect us. And as far as the people signing the petition, a lot of the people who signed the petition, yes, they have 2-car parking in the front, but a lot of them are done without permits. And a lot of people in this row of houses are renters. They're not homeowners. And the people, I don't know how it impacts the people on Corley, because we live on Kingston Road. It doesn't directly impact any of those people. So I also want to say that they have a parking permit for the road as well as their 2-car parking presently that they now park with, and we also have a permit for the road. We have no previous parking in the back, but we have one legal parking in the front, because when they took our garage, they allowed us to have 1 parking pad, so that's why we have it.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to go over my notes, but that's our concern, is that they did try to sell their house, we were told recently, and so if this is what is the real estate agent told us, if this 4-car parking pad is to be a selling feature in the future, that now we're going to have more people parking and coming and going, and he said it directly impacts my house as a detached single-family home. And he said, why do they need 4-car parking and a street parking for one single family?
Okay. Did you,
Thank you very much for listening to me.
Yep, you're welcome. Have you been able to say everything that was in your notes?
I'm yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to go word for word, because it's probably too long.
That's
but those are
okay.
the
Yeah,
things
I just don't want you to have missed anything, because you still had a little bit of time. But let me see if the panel has any questions for you. Panel members, do any of you have a question for Ms. Leger? Okay. Thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you.
Mr. D'Olivier, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you just speak to some of the concerns raised?
Yeah, so the neighbor refers to our clients parking in the back previously, but this is also around the same time that most of the instances I had mentioned previously had taken place. They had been using a smaller vehicle that they had borrowed from a family member in order to park in the back to begin with. Since those instances, they've given up parking back there altogether to avoid any additional unfortunate events with the neighbors. So in order to keep things civil between the two, they opted to stop using that right of way altogether, and it hasn't been used as a parking space in the rear for years now, ever since 2012. They've been using the backyard simply for their own family's enjoyment, while keeping the right of way area clear for the neighbor. As the neighbor mentioned, they also have a front back parking in the front. And really, in terms of them having access to the parking in Kingston, if we do get approval for this parking moving forward, that would be something that they'd use from there on out. They wouldn't park in the street anymore. There is no plans to sell the house or turn this into a multi-family Airbnb or anything of the sort. This is simply for our clients to use. There is no use of the backyard, as I mentioned, for parking. It is simply the front pad that we're proposing. And as the neighbor had mentioned, our clients currently park on the street, and anytime they do try and load their small children in and out of the vehicle or try and bring things in and out, it's at the point right now where they're asking the neighbor at 414 if they could use use their driveway in order to move things in or out here. So we really are trying to mitigate things so they can stay in this home for the long term. As I mentioned, there are no plans to sell. This is a place that they want their family to stay in, and they're just trying to do whatever they can here to make that possible moving forward. So open it up to any questions you might have.
Okay, panel members, Mr. Niffel.
Could you explain what percentage of the rear yard is landscaped and what percentage is paved? I assume if portion was used for parking in the past, that portion was paved, and I'm further assuming that it's currently paved. I'm wondering if you could clarify, maybe you could make reference to drawing number Z2.
So currently there is a bit of patio space in the back, but that really goes to the extent of the driveway. There's trampoline, children's play structures that are located in the back right now. So really the rest of it is soft landscaping. There's just a bit of patio space, as I mentioned.
And the right-of-way extends back as on your drawing Z2, is that correct?
Yes, so it extends to where you see property line jog there. That is the extent of the right-of-way.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, panel members? Ms. Hayes.
The examples you provided of other properties in the area, how many of those also have rear parking available to them?
The majority of them don't seem to have access to parking at the rear, but to be honest, I don't know if any of these are really that usable as access to the rear, because most of them from the photos seem to have some stairwells or stuff to adjust the grade levels between the side and front of the home. As I mentioned, in our case, these lanes are kind of narrow, so there's really only about 2.3 meters from one side of the roadway to the other. Minimum parking spaces are supposed to be 2.6 meters at least per single car, maybe 2.9 or 3.2 depending on obstructions on either side. So these lanes are very narrow to get into. There's also not really the minimum radius at the end of the right-of-way with the existing deck of the neighbor either. And this is actually all currently fenced in, so it clearly hasn't been used in a long time as parking.
Mr. Niffel?
I'm sorry, I have one further question. Are you familiar with the planning department report? Have you seen it?
Yes, we've had multiple discussions with planning. Originally,
Okay.
they had wanted us to try and combine the parking to include that right-of-way space, but as I mentioned, it's just caused issues in the past, and we're trying to mitigate that as much as possible.
I was wondering, I don't have an answer to this, but under the comments section of the planning department report, they say planning staff have concerns about the two-car parking pad. Have you had any discussions with them as to whether or not their concerns would be alleviated if it was only one-car parking?
They have mentioned that they would be okay with the single car parking here. So that is something our clients might be open to as well, if that's how the committee is leaning, but ideally we would.
Yeah, that was my other question. Could your client, given that there is street parking, you have if I understand correctly, you have a space on the street. If there was one car rather than two-car parking, would that work for you? I mean, I realize it's not the ideal, but could you make that work?
We've spoken to the clients, we could potentially make that work. Again, if we were to have the parking on our own space, ideally that additional parking space would become available to other people on the street. I know there is a limit to how many people can get parking permits to park along Kingston. I'm not sure what those exact numbers are, but this would open up some space for people to do so.
Okay, I think the larger issue is the official plan. I'm trying to find an alternative solution here that would appear to still respect the official plan policy. So if push came to shove, you could probably make one parking space work then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions, panel members? Okay, let's take it into committee then. Ms. Hayes?
I'll just open it up with some just general thoughts. You know, although it may be inconvenient, there is still parking available at the rear of this property. It is still hardscaped and still would be available even if the parking pad were put in. That causes me some concern. You know, I think if the rear had been, you know, returned to all soft landscaping and there be one in the front, that's fine, but I'm concerned with respect to the number of parking spots that would be available on here, and the report, you know, the planning report that speaks to the concern when there is already on-site parking and allowing for front yard parking, especially 2 spaces. I think I could agree with the comments in planning that there be 1 parking pad, but I don't think I can support 2.
Mr. Reed.
I agree. I think that the kind of proposed solution put forward by planning made sense with the one space in the front, but using the shared drive. I think this, by creating new curb cuts, that entire stretch of Kingston basically is just going to be paved driveways, and I don't think that's the intent of planning. It's like what we talked about earlier today. There are a lot of examples doesn't make it right. So in its current form, I can't support this.
Mr. Nipfel?
I also can't support it with 2 parking spaces. I was trying to determine if planning would be on side with 1 space. It appears that they would. It seems that if 1 parking space was provided here, it would mimic what's on the adjacent property. If I understand correctly, that property used to have a garage at the back, no longer has a garage, but still has a paved right-of-way that goes to the backyard. So it would appear to mimic the situation on this property. I think 1 parking space in the front yard would, as I understand it, would appear to still respect the official plan policy, and I could support that, but not 2 as proposed.
Okay. Mr. Nipfel, or did any of you want to move a motion? Mr. Reed?
I'm happy to move a motion. I think for all the reasons that the committee members have discussed, I don't think this is an appropriate proposal for the property, so I move to deny the application.
Okay. Ms. Hayes, you're seconding? Okay, so motion to refuse the application, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? Okay, the application has been refused. Okay, the final item this morning is number 30, 283 Lansdowne Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and we don't have any opposition speakers and no further correspondence. And we have 2 variances before us. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, you do. I'm here. David Calusi, agent for the owner, architect.
Okay, I don't think we need a presentation. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? All right, Mr. Calusi, we've read the material. We have no questions. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add that we should know?
I don't think so. I think it's straightforward. I'll just point out that there's a row of 6 virtually identical townhouses or row houses in this strip, and the proposal, a similar proposal is already in place on the northernmost and southernmost of the 6 units. So this would be following that sort of pattern.
Okay, thank you. Okay, panel members, let's take it into committee for a decision. Mr. Bayat.
Madam Chair, this is another example of a very straightforward application, and in keeping with a lot of front porches being enclosed. So I have no qualms about supporting this application. So if my colleagues don't have any other comments or opposing views, different views, I'd like to move that we approve the application as is.
Okay, Ms. Hayes is seconding, so motion to approve, moved by Mr. Bayat, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? Your application has been unanimously approved, and that concludes the morning session, and we stand adjourned at 12:15.
Sorry,
I'm
through
sorry.
you, Madam Chair. We did
We're not
get.
yet? We're not yet adjourned, okay.
Just one thing. Based on item 8, 103 Victor Avenue, staff have received confirmation from the zoning examiner that this would be classified as a 3-story dwelling, so that will be noted in the minutes.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we now stand adjourned at 12:16. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, colleagues.
Thanks very
Enjoy the
much.
rest of your day.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
afternoon,
everyone. Thank you, staff. Take care.